Warning: this video contains spoilers for Dogman. If you have not seen the film yet, then please click off this video now. But if you have seen Dogman, then please continue watching. Okay, so we're starting off in C tier here. First I actually do want to talk about ADHD. This is the little robot that like Lil Petey builds, and it comes in handy like later on in the climax, and then eventually the robot itself becomes sentient. And from what I understand, later on in the books, like later on in the books, it becomes a like ADHD, and then his alter ego Lightning Dude. And then again, I only know that because of the Dogman video game, Mission Impossible. Yeah, honestly, uh, the fact that the fact that I recognize him from the video game, the fact that I recognize him from the video game is kind of why ADHD is in like a high C tier. He was a fun character to use in the game, and Dogman Mission Impossible is no slouch either itself. But honestly, it wasn't like he wasn't really used much in the overall movie. So so maybe in the sequel they like lean more into that element of the book where they all become superheroes. And then the mayor, who is just kind of there, but I put her way high because of that one joke where it's like oh, that's not where the chief is like, hey, that's not fair, Dogman has to be on the case, and then she's like, oh, that's not fair, call this number, and it's a life's not fair hotline. It's just a guy saying life's not fair every time you say something. So yeah, I gotta wonder how much they're being paid over there at that facility. Um, then we got Big Jim, who, he's another character who just sort of exists, but really his whole purpose in the movie is just being, Petey's cellmate in jail, and he's just like the big prison softie. So, and I heard apparently the latest Dogman book revolves around him. So yeah, hopefully they lean more into him for the sequel. Because let's be honest, they're going to do a sequel. Every DreamWorks movie makes a profit nowadays, unless you're Ruby Gillman. But that flopped under specific circumstances. And then this character, whose name I already forgot, she was like a co-worker of the chief, and like she had a whole gag where like she started rambling about stuff, and the rambling was so specific, it's like you can't help but notice it probably happened to her in real life. Yeah, other than that, she just they didn't really do much with her. So yeah, and her again, like I already forgot her name. So, but let's go higher into B tier, shall we? Okay, B tier. First of all, we got to talk about Petey's dad, Lil Petey's grandpa. Yeah, he's not in the movie much, but the few scenes he does get are like genuinely really funny because it's like a whole thing with Petey where it's like, oh, he's evil because his dad left him, so he has a son of his own, and then you see he tries to abandon his own son, but then it's like, and then little Petey, being the adorable little snowball that he is, we'll get to him in a minute, but Petey, being as adorable as he is, he convinces his dad to stay, and then little Petey even tries to get his grandpa to come back so that him and Petey, or Big Petey, can stop being so evil. And then Petey becomes the good guy at the end, and but I'll get to that when I talk about Petey himself. Yeah, little Petey's grandpa. Yeah, he was just the few scenes. I don't know who the voice actor is, but he does a bang up job. And I heard oh, this is just hearsay, but I hear there might be a short about him on the home media release, Wednesdays with Gramps, I think it's called. Yeah, so if that ends up being about Petey's grandpa, I'm all in for it. Or Lil Petey's. Yeah, see, it's really hard when there's two characters named Petey, because then at the very end of the movie, he goes back to being a deadbeat dad. So yeah, so and then we got Flippy the fish over here. He's like, I would consider him to be like a secondary villain of the movie. Yeah, because like the first couple minutes, it's like, oh, you think Petey's gonna be the bad guy, and to some extent he is, but but then like, well, you see, he's actually the reason why, because Flippy was originally dead at first, but then like the chief told Dogman to like guard Flippy in some facility, and then Petey broke into said facility, and then he sent him to some other factory thingy. where like he got jammed in the gears of some machine, and now suddenly he has all these powers and can control build. The building designs were actually really cool, but this is sort of a problem I have with the Dogman movie. I feel like it's trying to do a little too much for one film. I kind of would have preferred if Petey was just the main bad guy, and then maybe the sequel can focus on Flippy the fish. I admit, as much as I really enjoyed the Dogman movie, it does kind of feel like it kind of feels like the first half of one movie and then the second half of a potential sequel clipped together. But that's not necessarily a bad thing because I still enjoyed it. I wish the movie, if they do a sequel, if they do a proper sequel, they maybe touch that up a little bit. And then we get Officer Knight. He's the human who Dogman's body comes from. Because he wasn't originally Dogman at first. He was just Officer Knight's dog named Greg. And then they're trying to defuse a bomb, but then the bomb goes off anyway. The bomb goes off anyway, and then while they're in the hospital, they said, "Oh, what if we fuse the dog's head onto the man's body?" And just mayhem ensues. Honestly, Dogman's origin is kind of dark when you really think about it. Yeah, he doesn't really do much in the movie, but the only reason he's really in B is because he does get the plot going. Again, his body, being Dogman's body. It's also kind of funny that after the two fuse together, his girlfriend leaves him, and apparently she has like a new boyfriend. So I'm guessing she was cheating on Officer Knight for a while. So yeah, that's all I got to say really. All right, so in A tier, we've only got two characters to cover. We got Sarah Hadoff, the news reporter, and we got Seamus, her cameraman. Yeah, Seamus doesn't get a lot to do either, but I do like his Scottish accent. Plus, he does play more of a part than some of the other characters we talked about. And again, the Scottish accent, gotta love it. And then we got Sarah Hadoff, who, yeah, again, she does get more screen time than some of the other characters, but also I'd argue suffers from one of the movie's main issues, and that's having too many characters and too many plots. But nonetheless, I do still like Sarah Hadoff, and she's kind of hot, which is kind of why she's in A tier. But it's yeah, I'm just being a simp at this point. Side note, by the way, I like whenever you see her and Seamus on the screen, I legit couldn't stop thinking about Roxanne Ritchie and Hal from Megamind, because they do a thing where like the chief is in love with Sarah Hadoff, and I kept wanting them to reveal, oh, Seamus is actually her boyfriend. Yeah, if that's a thing in the books, please let me know. But I don't. Doesn't really seem like it is. It does seem like she has things for the feelings for the chief, so maybe that's a thing in the book too. I don't know. Also another side note. Her voice actress, Isla Fisher, she ain't fat, bro. Just a little thick. She ain't fat, bro. Just a little. All right, so finally in S tier, we got 5 characters to cover. First off, we got the chief, who, yes, he's a very instrumental part of the plot. He's the one who gives Dogman his assignments and what have you. Plus, he's just really funny, and I attribute this to his voice actor, Lil Rel Howery, which, if you guys are really close friends with me, you know that I have a special type of attachment to Lil Rel Howery. And it may or may not be because he was in Harold and the Holy Crayon. Awesome movie, by the way. Very, very based and red pilled, just like Howery himself. And I am trying to reclaim the term red pilled because it's like I'm not gonna get into that side, but anyways. 4chan. Reddit. Anyways, next up we got Petey's butler, who really doesn't get much to do in the plot either, but I did like this is the one running gag in the movie I enjoyed, where at the beginning of the movie, like, she's working for Petey, and like at the beginning, like Petey fires her, and then she's like, oh, I'm expecting a paycheck, and then she keeps coming into the office at multiple points in the movie, and it's like hey, I'm still expecting a paycheck, and then Petey's like, I already paid you, and you have like different things. Oh, like Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but like, oh, but chocolate coins are not a valid form of payment, or so, and it just kept getting more ridiculous as time went on. Bottle caps are not a form of payment. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, and then we got Dogman himself, the star of the show. Great character, really, really great character. You know, he just wants to do good and all that good stuff. Oh, and also while we're on the topic of Dogman, there was a bad guy short that played before the movie, Little Lies and Alibis. That short is peak, but this is a update. This is a tier list for characters in the movies, not characters in shorts. But rest assured, the bad guys' characters are still awesome, and Mr. Snake, yeah, and Mr. Snake is still the best one. But anyways, Dogman, you know, he's adorable. I mean, what's not to love about a police officer dog? A real canine, if you will. And boy was he in this film. Yeah, I mean, and well, I say he's adorable, but I haven't even touched on Lil Petey yet. Yeah, so Dogman, very awesome character in a very awesome movie. Almost as awesome as the Captain Underpants movie, which, fun fact, Captain Underpants and Dogman, well, in the books at least, they technically take place in the same universe. You know, because Dogman was like a comic that it was a comic that George and Harold came up with before they created Captain Underpants. Yeah, so that's kind of, and I think, yeah, even George and Harold actually had a little cameo in the movie. Yeah, so that's interesting. And then yeah, so we're gonna talk about Petey and Little Petey. This, I gotta say, like, they're all the scenes with them in it was probably the best part of the whole movie. It's just really fucking adorable. You know, it's like, you know, Petey decides, oh, nobody's as evil as me. I just fired my butler, so I'm gonna I'm gonna buy a cloning machine and make a clone of myself so that somebody I can have somebody who thinks exactly like me. And there's a really funny joke where like he's going on the internet to buy the cloning machine. And he's like, air fryer, air fryer, air fryer, air fryer, air fryer, cloning machine. Yeah, and the cloning machine comes, and it's like, and then he and he's reading the instructions on how to use the cloning machine. He rips off a strand of his hair, puts it in the machine, and then suddenly it creates a baby version of himself. And then on the back of the paper it says, "Step 4: wait 18 years for your clone to reach adulthood." Yeah, gotta read the fine print there, buddy. You know, either that or maybe they shouldn't make cloning machines that way. Yeah, Petey and Lil Petey I'm gonna combine together because their bond is just, and then Petey abandons Lil Petey, and then Lil Petey gets found by Dogman to where he lives. Yeah, yeah, and like they live together. They're like best buds and what have you. But then suddenly, Lil Petey goes missing because his dad brings him back to the lair. He's trying to teach him to be as evil as he is, and then so and then the whole town is trying to search for Lil Petey. Yeah, then they eventually do find Lil Petey after Dogman arrests Big Petey, and then that creates a whole issue in itself. Are you really gonna arrest this guy in front of his son? But then Flippy the fish comes in and captures Little Petey. So that's how Big Petey becomes good because him and Dogman got to work together to stop Flippy. Yeah, and then the very end of the movie, and then actually, well, Petey, first of all, he sacrifices himself to save his son. Flippy's about to throw him in a volcano, but then Lil Petey creates a book for Flippy saying, "Me and my friend Flippy," which he did for Petey earlier in the movie, and really, it's just the most fucking adorable thing ever. And that convinces Flippy to spare Big Petey, and then everyone saved the day. And then Petey even gets pardoned for his crimes at the end, and the mayor at the end is just like, oh, and I'm totally not just doing that because it's an election year. Very, very timely subject matter, if I do say so myself. Anyways, yeah, I just really like, and then a bit of a side note here. If this movie, because also don't forget, earlier in the movie, Lil Petey tries to bring his grandpa back so that him and Big Petey can reunite. I guarantee you, if this movie came out a few years earlier, people would be dogpiling on it, for trying to copy Disney with its themes of generational trauma, Encanto, Turning Red, and Strange World. Like, well, no, it's spreading over to DreamWorks. Oh, but DreamWorks is supposed to be the better version of Disney. I'm totally not just saying that because Shay Frillis told me to. Anyways, here. Speaking of DreamWorks, I'm sure they're not gonna fall off with whatever upcoming movies they have. I mean, it's not like they're it's just not like. I'm sorry, I can't do this with a straight face. You know, yeah, just think, we have Kung Fu Panda 4. They say they're falling off. Wild Robot, people, oh, they're peak again. I'm sure people are going to say this is peak. It's Captain Underpants, it's peak. Bad Guys 2, people are going to say it's peak. And then Gabby's Dollhouse, the movie, comes out. And then DreamWorks, people say DreamWorks is mid, and I'm actually kind of getting ahead of myself. So let's actually go over what their upcoming movies are going to be.
The next movie on DreamWorks' calendar is going to be very tricky for me to talk about, and that is the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. It is currently set to release on June 13th, and I say currently because it's opening the same day as Pixar's Elio, so I definitely expect one of them to move. But that's not why I'm bringing this up. You see, at the very end of the trailer, there is a print logo for DreamWorks Animation, so both me and the guy who made this tier list are wondering if we should even put the live action versions of the characters on here. My current idea is to make an update 8.5 since if the reported test screenings are any indicator, then it's basically going to be another Lion King, where it's essentially the exact same movie told through a different coat of paint. Following that, however, is a movie that I will make a proper update 9 for, and that is The Bad Guys 2 on August 1st of this year. The trailer shows a lot of promise, and I'm already in love with this character right here. Make what you will of that statement. Next up, on September 26th, is Gabby's Dollhouse the movie. In the last update, I had said that this would be DreamWorks' first live action animated hybrid, but that instead looks to be the How to Train Your Dragon remake. Like, seriously, Toothless looks so close to his animated counterpart that it's honestly kind of uncanny. Also, some of the movements in the trailer look a little more CGI than most hyper realistic CGI things do, like, if that makes any fucking sense. But anyways, rounding things out for right now is Shrek 5 on December 23rd, 2026. This was originally supposed to open on July 1st of that year, but has since been delayed, and its old release date has been taken over by Minions 3 from sister studio Illumination. Now, you're probably scratching your head thinking, why is DreamWorks going 15 months without a movie? And my answer is that that may not end up being the case. You see, Universal currently has an untitled animated event film slated for September 25th, 2026. This thing says 24th, but it's a calendar from Switzerland, so it goes for like the nearest Thursday. So the nearest Friday is going to be the 25th. But anyways, I think there's a pretty good chance of this date going to an original movie from DreamWorks. My best guess at the moment is the Larry Boy movie that Big Idea is working on, though I'm unsure if it's even going to be a co-production with DreamWorks. On the one hand, Universal's acquisition of the studio is the entire reason why they even own Big Idea, but the article which announced the movie makes no mention of DreamWorks whatsoever. Then again, we didn't know they were involved with the live action How to Train Your Dragon until the trailer dropped, so who the hell even knows at this point? But in any case, that's going to just about do it for the Dogman update of the DreamWorks character tier list. This is Bumpy Gaming going back under the bed. And remember, there are fates worse than death, such as running into somebody who just so happens to have an eastern gray squirrel on them to distract you from looking at the monitors.